These are the signs you're not overthinking. You're a pattern recognizer, naturally wired to notice what most people filter out. Science shows there's a real neurological difference that affects roughly 15 to 20% of people. If you've ever been told you think too much or notice everything, you might not be an overthinker at all. You might be what psychologists call a highly sensitive person, or someone with the trait's scientific name, sensory processing sensitivity, or SPS. That distinction can change how you see yourself. Your brain processes around 11 million bits of information every second, but you're only consciously aware of a tiny fraction, often cited as roughly 40 bits. Most people run on autopilot, filtering out almost everything that doesn't feel immediately relevant. But some brains are different. They're built for enhanced pattern recognition, spotting anomalies, connections, and subtle shifts. A perfect example happened in 2007 with the Joshua Bell experiment. This Grammy-winning violinist, who normally sells out concert halls, put on a baseball cap and played Bach on his $3.5 million Stradivarius violin in a Washington, D.C. subway station during rush hour. Gene Weingarten's Pulitzer Prize-winning Washington Post article documented the experiment. For 45 minutes, Bell performed world-class music. How many people stopped? Just 6. 6 out of thousands noticed something extraordinary. This isn't about musical taste, it's about awareness. Many people move through life in a kind of sensory sleep, filtering out anything that doesn't register as urgent. But if you're the kind of person who would have noticed the music, who would have sensed something different in that moment, you're not overthinking, you're awake. So what separates noticing from overthinking? One key factor is productivity versus paralysis. Noticing leads to clarity, understanding, or action. Overthinking traps you in loops that go nowhere. Clinical psychologist Dr. Helen Odesky says people confuse overthinking with problem solving, but we just sort of go in a loop. We're not really solving a problem. Real observation tends to feel calm and clear, your pattern system doing its job. Overthinking feels frantic and urgent, anxiety hijacking your thinking and spinning it in circles. This explains why you might notice your friend is off because their smile doesn't reach their eyes, sense tension in a room that nobody else names, or catch inconsistencies in someone's story. That's not overthinking. That's high-resolution pattern processing, and neuroscience links enhanced perception to the foundations of intelligence, language, and innovation. Your neocortex, the outer layer supporting complex thought, contains what can be described as pattern recognizers constantly scanning for meaning. Futurist Ray Kurzweil, as described in his book How to Create a Mind, has estimated around 300 million pattern recognizers. In some people, that system runs at a higher sensitivity level. You're not broken, you're tuned differently. And this isn't random. It often shows up in populations that have been mislabeled or misunderstood. People with ADHD, for example, can have unusually strong pattern recognition in the right context. Dr. Tony Lloyd of the ADHD Foundation explains that the ADHD brain may have greater synaptic connections in regions tied to visual imagery, supporting visual thinking and pattern recognition. Autistic individuals frequently demonstrate what researchers call enhanced perceptual functioning, or EPF, noticing details and patterns that neurotypical minds miss. Temple Grandin put it simply, the world needs different kinds of minds to work together. Some corporate neurodiversity programs have reported autistic employees being 90 to 140% more productive in the right environments. Then there are highly sensitive people with sensory processing sensitivity. Research psychologists Dr. Elaine Aron and Dr. Arthur Aron at Stony Brook University identified this trait in the 1990s, proposing that about 20% of humans and many other species show heightened sensitivity to stimuli. In that view, it's not a flaw, it's an evolutionary strategy that persists because it works. This explains why you might feel drained after social gatherings while others feel energized. You're not being dramatic. You may be processing more. Micro-expressions, tone shifts, unspoken tension, and environmental details your brain tracks automatically. The problem is, society often labels this as a weakness. Stop thinking so much, just go with the flow. But pattern recognition is how humans learned, created, and advanced. The key is learning to separate productive noticing from anxious rumination. If noticing leads to insight or action, it's working. If you keep analyzing the same thing with no new understanding, noticing has tipped into overthinking. This is also where intuition gets misunderstood. Real intuition, basically unconscious pattern recognition, feels calm and clear. Therapist Jessica Foley describes it as a deeper inner knowing that feels clear. Anxiety feels urgent, overwhelming, and fear-driven. It demands immediate certainty. Gut feelings aren't mystical either. They're often linked to the enteric nervous system, the second brain in your gut with roughly 100 million neurons, sending signals faster than conscious analysis. When something feels off, your amygdala may have detected a mismatch with safety or authenticity and triggered a warning through your nervous system. Research from the University of New South Wales in 2016 by Dr. Joel Pearson suggests people can make faster, more accurate decisions when emotional information is processed unconsciously. So, how do you tell if you're a high notice person versus someone stuck in overthinking? High notice markers include spotting small changes others miss, picking up subtle social cues, and having observations that lead to clarity or action. Overthinking markers include paralysis instead of clarity, repetitive loops with no new insight, urgency instead of calm knowing, and rising distress instead of understanding. The solution isn't to notice less, it's to channel your sensitivity. When you notice something, ask, what is this information telling me? Is there an action here? If you're looping without learning, shift gears. Distinguish information gathering from worry. Information gathering feels purposeful. Worry feels circular. When you catch worry mode, shift into what researchers call concrete thinking. Focus on specific, observable details instead of endless abstract possibilities. Remember, this sensitivity likely developed for a reason. In our evolutionary past, people who could detect subtle changes and social dynamics had advantages. You carry some of that wiring, and the modern world still needs it. Breakthroughs often come from noticing what others ignore. Steve Jobs noticed computers could be intuitive and beautiful. Marie Curie noticed anomalous radiation and changed science. Your enhanced noticing isn't a disorder to erase, it's a capacity to develop. The same brain that tracks micro-expressions can excel in research, counseling, data analysis, and creative problem-solving. That's why neurodiversity hiring programs are growing. If you've spent years thinking something is wrong with you, it's time to rewrite the story. You're not overthinking. You might just be awake in a world where most people are on autopilot.